Hi, welcome back to the greenery blanket. You guys are finally ready to do the shoulder separation here for turning this greenery blanket into a greenery sweater. So it's getting quite large. Matter of fact, the width of this across is about the width, or exactly the width, that I want it to be for my shoulders. So we are on now round 20. And then we will separate out for the shoulders. So hang in there today because this is a good one. So this round 20 you didn't see yet, but it is 2 treble crochets in the skipped chain behind the skipped stitch behind the chain 5 of round 19. So round 20 is this green round. It's 2 treble crochets and then there's no chains between them. And we're working behind the chain 5 spaces. So if you do that all the way around, then we come to here, and then we're going to separate out for the shoulders. So I'm finishing treble crochets in the unused stitch behind round 19, behind the chain 5s, okay? And I'm just working over any tails that happen to be back there. And then we are going to fasten off round 20 and get out our handy dandy stitch markers. I'm finishing off round 20 with a slip stitch in the top of the first treble crochet. It happens to be a standing one. If you've been following along, this really shouldn't be of a shock to you for round 20. When figuring out the armholes of our piece, so my circle now, you can't even fit the whole thing in the frame, but my circle now is double this width. So here's the radius from the center point out to here, and it is the width of my hand, so it's a good 10 inches or so. So if I were to take one of my favorite garments, or at least a garment that fits, you would then measure from this shoulder point across to the other shoulder point, and that's approximately what we're trying to get here across the width of our big circle. And we know that yarn stretches just like a cotton t-shirt stretches, so that's good. So that's a good measure. We're going to take 4 locking stitch markers and marking off where the shoulder points are going to be across the circle, okay? So this part then that folds down from this locking stitch marker I put over here at a random spot. I just chose a random spot for my locking stitch marker, and meeting it straight across, if I fold this down, straight across would be the same width of the width of my t-shirt. So the you can see right there. So that is where the shoulder points are on my t-shirt. So I put another locking stitch marker over here to mark that spot. Now, what I did is then took the armhole of my shirt and figured out the distance between the shoulder point and the underarm. So what the sleeve opening, the armhole drop is here. And that distance I marked off with another marker. And so there we have, I'm trying to get it into the frame. So we have our distance, and it's a little bit shorter, but it's going to stretch a lot. So it's going to be fine. So I have marked off stitches of that distance for that like seam there. So now I counted that many stitches and then counted that many stitches over here and put a matching marker over here. So the orange ones for me are the top of the shoulder point. The green ones for me are the underarm. Okay, if you don't have locking stitch markers, you can use bobby pins or something, or you can just tie loose waste yarn in those spots. I made sure that the number of stitches is equal on each side, okay? So those are marking the shoulder holes, or the armhole holes. So when I do the next round, I'm going to put my color in, and when I get all the way to the stitch marker here, instead of working in these stitches, I'm going to chain that number of stitches to here and then pick back up again. So if we count the number of stitches that I have decided that I am going to skip because of my armhole, I'm counting the stitch marker, so I probably will not stitch. So whatever you decide, just stick with it. I am going to not stitch in the stitch markered spot because I think I'm going to allow myself just a little bit more armhole. So marker to marker, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Marker to marker, I have 21, making a little note of a 21 there. Because when I stitch to that point, I am then going to skip 21 stitches and then pick back up in the stitch after the green marker and then stitch all the way around the bottom until I get to the green marker over here, skip 21 stitches, and then in the one after the orange marker, pick back up again. Okay, do you see? So I'm leaving a hole where my arms will go through. And then after that, we are literally going to try it on and see how it goes. So I am, by the way, centering the seam or the join in between the two shoulder points so that the seam is at the back of the neck. So this will fold down and it'll kind of be a very best placement for putting that seam so that it is maybe most hidden. Anyway, I'm having trouble focusing because the dog is still spitting up. I don't know what his problem is, so sorry about it if you're hearing him make his little noises here. So I'm joining the next color. So I guess this would be row 21, I think, if that is mistaken, if that is correct. So I'm going to join with a single crochet, and I'm going to go ahead and pick up that chain 5 loop. And I think I can bring the camera closer now. And hopefully you're not hearing the lawnmower outside. Just so much distraction in life these days. So in that chain 5 loop and in the first stitch of the 2 treble crochets behind, I went ahead and joined with a single crochet. Then I'm single crocheting in the next stitch. And should I add another one? I don't know. I think it'll probably be all right. So we'll go ahead and join through the chain 5 loop and the stitch behind it and in the next one. So we're just single crocheting around, and we are going to join or go through the chain 5 loop for the first treble crochet of the pair of each pair that happens to be behind the chain 5 loops of round 19. I think this one is 19, the green is 20, and so the purple would be 21. So we're single crocheting all the way until we get to the shoulder marker. So we're turning this circle piece, this circle blanket motif, this massive now motif into, it can either stay a blanket and we don't have to do these markers and we'll just do this row exactly like this all the way around. Or if you want to turn it into a sweater, to turn any round item into a sweater, like one of those circle vest things, that is what we are doing here. So we are stitching all the way across until we get to the arbitrary shoulder points using one of your garments that fits you to help you determine the width of the shoulders. So if you are a bigger person, then you will maybe have them further apart. If you are a smaller person, you can have them closer, but I'm allowing an arbitrary amount of stitches here that's going to fold down to be the back of the neck. I don't like my circle. I mean, you can put the armholes anywhere you want. I mean, you could put the armholes more like down here toward the middle of the circle, but then you're going to have a much bigger collar that folds down all the way around. Do you know what I'm saying? But if the armholes are higher up on your circle, then the collar will be shallower and the tail down here will be lower. So you can really fool around with it. And when you put your stitch markers in, hold it up against your body and see how it feels. If you like how high it is sitting on your shoulders or how low it is sitting on your shoulders. because this row is really the one that is going to then determine how it fits for you. And the most important point is just making sure that your arm is going to fit in the hole. So now I have 21 stitches here is what we counted, and so I'm going to chain 21, and that's going to gap a little bit. I don't know if that's going to be big enough for my arm to fit through, so I might actually go ahead and chain a little bit more and then put my arm through it and then see how big that hole needs to be for it to fit my arm. I feel like it's going to end up needing to be bigger than just straight across 21. It's actually probably going to be more like this to go around my armistice, the whole arm hole opening. Okay, so anyway, coming back to here, I'm stitching in pattern until I get to the marker. Now I am going to, there's a couple different things you can choose to do. So I can either just chain a number and skip all of these stitches, or I can single crochet foundation for that number, and that'll be just a stronger thing. Do you remember how to single crochet foundation, friends? Should I show you that? So like I said, we can either just chain across 21 stitches and then put your arm through, hold it up, literally pull it up, put it up, put it in your arm, join it here and do some stitches, and then put your arm through the hole and see how many more you need. Or we could do the same method in terms of determining the number of stitches, but do single crochet foundation. So if we do single crochet foundation, which I think I'm going to do because the purple is single crochets anyway, and single crochet foundation is stretchy. So that's a really good idea for this armhole. So if we have our last stitch here before our marker, if we're going to single crochet foundation the next 21 or whatever number I determine I need, I'm going to insert my hook into that last stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. I'm going to yarn over and pull through just one loop on the hook. That becomes the chain underneath my now floating single crochet, and now I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2. So now I have one new kind of almost dangling single crochet off of this stitch. Now the subsequent stitches are all going to be the same. So I'm going to grab 2 of the loops here along the side. Do I need to make it even closer? Maybe I need make it even closer for you. I'm going to grab the 2 loops off the side of the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. Now down here, under the 2 strands underneath, it's like it becomes a chain at the bottom. So I'm yarning over, I'm pulling up a loop, I'm yarning over and pulling through just 1. That makes the chain at the bottom of a foundation chain, and then yarn over and pull through 2. That becomes the single crochet. Okay, so right here, this little horizontal bar, that's the chain underneath single crochets. So I'm going to put my hook in there, grab 2 of the little loops because it's like working into a foundation chain, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now I'm going to yarn over and pull through just 1 loop. That becomes the chain underneath single crochets, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops on the hook to make a single crochet. So we're essentially making the chain beneath single crochets and the single crochets all in one step, so that you don't have to just chain and have it be flimsy and then have to stitch into that chain on the next round. So we're making a single crochet all the way around. So I'm chaining 1, that's the chain at the bottom, and then yarning over and pulling through 2. So now we have this row of single crochets that comes off of the piece here. So it's a little bit, I got it a little bit twisted, but it is a stitch here. So it's like if we started counting here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, just so you can see where the stitches are. Okay, so I like this method, so I'm going to keep doing this. I am going to see how many I need. I'm going to do at least 25, I think. Then I am going to attach it back to the piece so that it becomes a literal armhole, and then I am going to try it on and I will show you what we do next. So like I said, you could totally just do chains, and then on the next round you would just have to work into chains, just like a row piece of crochet. But I am going to do this single crochet foundation instead because it's more in line with what the rest of the row is doing, and it's a nice stretchy thing, and it's easier to work into on the next row. You can do this with any round motif to turn it into a sweater or vest. And I'm sorry about the lawnmower. Apparently, my husband has decided to mow the lawn right outside the window instead of any of the other sides of the house at the moment. It's all right. Best laid plans, correct? Correct. I hope you're having a relaxing and valuable use of your day. I believe crochet is a relaxing and valuable use of our time. It's so nice to have a functional piece that comes from a ball of yarn. It's almost like magic, isn't it? And it's so good for the soul, and it's so nice to see the fruits of our labor, especially if you end up with something functional or giftable when you're done. Please like and subscribe, by the way, while I'm just continuing to make single crochet foundations here. Whoop, I forgot to yarn over and pull through too. There we go. All right, so I see that I have the whole thing. That is not big enough for my arm to go through. I can tell you that right now. So I'm going to make a whole bunch more. So it is a little bit of trial and error to make it couture, where it fits you and your body. If you do not know if you're making your item as a gift for someone, obviously, if it's a person who's your size, you can use you as a guide. If it's a person who's smaller than you, who might have a smaller wing opening, a smaller armhole opening, then you can either get a garment from like a Goodwill store or a thrift store in the size of that person and kind of measure it and give that a go. You can also, there are like standardized charts for how big the armistice is on a standard person, and the armistice is the total inches or centimeters of the entire armhole opening, not just the size of that seam. It's called the armistice, not to be confused with armistice. It's like ARMYSCE, something like that. Okay, so I'm going to give this a try here and see if this fits my arm, knowing that it's going to stretch some. So I've got this here, and I am going to attach it not in the marked stitch, but in the next stitch, making sure that I didn't twist this. This is all laid nice and flat. I'm going to single crochet in this last one and then continue the pattern with working in the chain 5 loop and in the stitch behind it. And I'll give this a good, I don't know, 5 or 10 stitches to anchor it, and then put my arm through it. Okay. I can either put a locking stitch marker so it doesn't unravel, or just leave a nice long thing and put my arm through it and see how it feels. That feels pretty good. That feels very good, not too gappy. Okay, and so I am about, in terms of clothes, I am about a size medium, and this fits on me so that, like, if I just had like a bra on, like, you wouldn't be able to see the bra like underneath. So it's tight enough on my armhole. So if you want a bigger armhole, you'll do more stitches. For me, I will be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So these are the bonus stitches now. 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. I'm writing down the number 40 so that I do that on the same number of bonus stitches, armhole stitches on the other side so that it is even. Okay, and now I'll go ahead and continue all the way around until we get to the bottom of the green stitch marker, which is the underarm of the other side. And right now this is like the ducktail. This is the part that hangs at the lower back, okay, of our sweater. So we'll just continue this all the way around and then do the next armhole. Okay, when you've gotten all the way around, make sure that you are all happy before you cut your yarn, but then join like you normally would at the end of the row. Now I'll grab my t-shirt just for demonstration purposes and lay it down. So here's the front of the t-shirt. Here's the seam at the back. So I'm going to put this around my t-shirt so you can see a little bit better what's going on. So the sleeve comes through the hole here. I'm going to lift this way up as high as I can. Okay, so you can see the armhole of the sweater vest and then the armhole over here. Okay, and the collar flips down in the back. And then the new stitches are going to go right here and come around. So I'm going to flip this whole thing over so that you can see the back. Here's the sweater. Here's the vest. Here's the back collar. I'm going to take this off the tripod so I can show you a little bit better. So here's the back collar of the round sweater. Here's the sleeve coming out that hole, okay? And then here's down the lower back hem. And then up here is where the other sleeve comes out through the hole. So this will be a finished edge. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't love how this gray pops up. So I'm going to find more of the green and just do the purple row, just right here with green to tack it down, because I don't love how this is flipping up just because of this particular pattern. So I'm going to add one row just from marker to marker, just right here. These 21 stitches, I think I had to said, just to tack that down in pattern so it doesn't flip up. And I'll do that then on the other side too, because I just don't love how that looks. But this is how it's looking so far, okay? And then now all the rows that we will do will be rounds, will be wider, and they will start being the lapel of the sweater on the front. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So I hope this has been useful. I hope, let me know if you have any questions down in the comments below, and I will see you for round 21 next time. Thanks. So if you liked this video, here's another one that's similar that you might also enjoy. And here is the video, the last video that was uploaded in case you missed it. Everyone, please like and subscribe for more videos.